Yeah, it started streaming just before you did that. Cool. So there are basically, I'm going to show you, if you are playing something that's not, like universally competitive, you're basically, there's going to be like a couple, like at least one fucking like top tier matchup that you're basically just going to have to like take the L on. So Disco actually put this really well a while back. He said that at one point, like, if there's, he said that like in older AC games with turn speed, you basically kited isn't the right word here, but you kited using turn speed. You just had to like outmaneuver. Yeah. In AC6, since there isn't turn speed, you don't outflank people, you outrange them. And yeah, well, so that's the thing. It's that I'm gonna try really hard to not get into like Takafumi's theory of everything on why this game is terrible. So I'm just gonna try to objectively tell you, like, that's totally fine. I don't give a fuck. That's totally fine. You're definitely I'm a yapper, so you're definitely gonna have to like edit some stuff. So anyway, yes, projectile velocities are terrible. If you can believe it, they actually, right before they released the game, I don't know if you ever heard anything about this, but they like expanded. I think it was like they doubled the intended engagement ranges. So yeah, it used to just like, apparently it used to basically just be like a melee game, and because like bazookas, for instance, like now the most viable bazooka is Majestic, and it's 345 meters per second. No, it's not, because of the whole, like, we didn't list some stats so that people would try weapons that would be repellent if we listed all of their real stats. It's a joke, but again, I'm going to try to avoid value judgments here. But what I'm telling you, like, about the range thing, like, the most viable bazooka right now is Majestic. It's 345 meters per second. All bazookas used to be 200 meters per second. So that's just terrible. Like, that's awful. Anyway, so the whole thing with like slow projectiles and you have to kite based on range instead of based on turn speed is, it creates a lot of problems, and some of those problems, because with turn speed, it's like, all right, well, if you anticipate like how someone's going to flank you, and you read their movement well enough, you can like plan around turn speed. You're obviously like there are certain hard limits. Obviously, you can't just make your fucking mech turn faster than it's allowed to. But there's a lot more that you can do as a player to work around turn speed than there is to work around the range kiting, because there's only so fast your projectiles go, and there's only so fast that your AC is going to move. And you only have 4 weapon slots, so your toolkit is really limited. So I'll start by talking about my build. My build, it's actually not even really like my specific build. Boat in general, you've got this problem where you like. So, if you have enough weapons to chase kites, then you just get bowled over in CQC. And if you have weapons sufficient for CQC, then kites just run away from you forever. Yeah, and that's this. Like, I basically decided, like, I am not willing to lose CQC. I'm not gonna get molested by melee builds, like, screw that. So I just basically threw the kite matchup and was like, because I still beat mid kites, like I can still outperform mid kites because I know how to move, and I can, like, the Fasans are the fastest projectile in the game. they are at 980 meters per second, which is really funny that that's the fastest projectile speed, because in 4 Answer, that matches the Samsara plasma rifle, if I remember correctly, and those are like plasma rifles are considered slow in 4 Answer, and yeah, so that like the fastest projectile in this game is considered sluggish and slow in 4th gen. But yeah, I've got tools, like I'm good at maiming because I have thousands of hours on FPS games, so I can like outplay kites doing that a lot of the time. But versus like good kites. Okay, so go to the leaderboard real quick. I'm pretty sure the number 1 build on the leaderboard right now is an obnoxious build called Kiri Kite. Yeah, I hate this thing. It presses S and slowly floats up and down, and squeezes all 4 of its triggers all at once for the entire game. Yeah, it just, like, it's all spam. Like, it's dual rifles, and it just backpedals away from you. The missiles, like, because you don't have to think about when you fire your missiles, really, on this build, or in 6th gen in general, not like you do in the old games where you could get them shot down and exploded in your face. So this thing just spams missiles off cooldown, basically, and holds its rifle triggers all the time. And it builds up an enormous amount of stagger, and it operates purely in neutral. These are really the fastest. These are like the fastest kinetics. Its Harris rifle is like very high velocity. It never uses the Harris charge. It just spams uncharged. Yeah, you would very occasionally see Kiri Kites use charged Harris to like finish a stagger or something, maybe sometimes to punish it. But even punishing, it's got a ludicrous like direct hit adjustment, so even its uncharged just does. Kinetics in general do crazy stagger punish, so it doesn't really need to use the charge to stagger punish either. So that's Kiri Kite. I throw that matchup super hard. I just cannot reach them, and even when I do, because of the way that tracking and neutral movement work in this game, I can fire a bazooka at these things at literally point-blank range, and it just misses. Yeah. You have to use, and the point is, I have no missiles. You have to use missiles to force movement, otherwise your guns are just not going to hit. So that's one of the 3 like top tier archetypes is Kiri Kite. Go to number 2. Yeah, this is another one of the top 3 archetypes. There are like a couple versions of this build, but they're all the same crap. This is the thing that I was telling you about. It's just like, instead of LRB, amped by 20B, it's a Walt rifle. And that obviously doesn't need energy weapon spec, so it can use whatever generator it wants. Which is, this thing just aim punches you like crazy, because it's got, like, the Walt rifle's a DOT, and the Ludlow is a automatic kinetic, so it just flinches you like, you just spaz like crazy when you're fighting this thing. So that's another archetype. This thing can move in neutral and it can move in AB. It's sort of like an Omni build. It's 75k midweight, which is just like the stat densest thing in the game. So that's that. There's obviously the other version which uses 20B to amp an LRB instead of a Walt rifle, and sometimes it does Ludlow plus LRB, sometimes it does Duckett plus LRB, but it all plays the same. Like, it all just plays exactly the same. It's just different versions of the same thing. One's blue, one's red. So that's that build. Yeah. And then the third one is Goma. Yeah, the third one is... So this is Blam, well, Blue Lamb, aka Blam. Lamb used to use NGI generator. So it... Sorry, say it again? Yep. It used to use NGI gen. So basically what it did on NGI was it just skyboxed and backpedaled forever. And it just like stayed there in the skybox and just backpedaled and backpedaled and backpedaled. And it used Coral Missile to control your movement and to force you, because missiles, I think I've told you, all missiles in the game have like a homing shutoff distance, and you have to pass within that distance of them to shut their homing off. and that's how you dodge missiles. And old Red Lamb used Coral Missile to force you to path away from chasing it in order to deactivate the Coral Missile. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's a cool dynamic. It doesn't end up playing well on paper, in my opinion, but that doesn't really matter. It is like a cool design, and it's whoever came up with it was good at garaging. Blue Lamb plays very, very differently because it doesn't have the crazy capacity that NGI has, so it plays a lot closer to the ground. I have a lot of respect for Gomez as a player, even if I hate the builds that he plays. He's like a cool guy, and he's very, very good at this game. He plays this build unlike anybody else does. He plays very close to the ground, and he's not afraid to let you get close to him. So Aurora, which is the missile on his right shoulder, and the Nebula on his right arm, those both with 20B are painful. Like, they just hurt a lot. And the explosive thrower does a lot of stagger. So, and then the split missile is basically just, it forces you to move. It doesn't use a lot of energy. I gather that it was like the last thing that was put on this build. It does force movement nicely though, and it's got a lot of uptime. So it's a lot to, and its split missiles are really nice versus things that are approaching you, because unlike in the old games, split missiles, they'll split around you, then completely turn around and hit you in the back. Yeah, so they're really good missiles versus approach. The ones on your back don't quite do that as well. They still do it, but they don't do it as well as like the hand split. But they still definitely do it. And split 8, which is the one on his back, has a lot of uptime. So even if like one doesn't turn around properly, you just spam another one and it probably will. Yeah, quick lock on and fast reload. So yeah, it's got fast cycle. That's a big thing in 6. Cycle rate is huge. Just because the targeting system is so unreliable that yeah. And it, yeah, is in FA, is that because of the defender sighted everything? Yeah. Yeah, that's way back a long time ago. I've picked up FA, started playing online, and I was used to like dedicated server infrastructure for like FPS games. So when I started playing FA online, I was like, what is this? And I basically just stopped playing it online. I had a good group of players, friends in high school that I played with. But it was crazy good fun. I felt very lucky that I had 5 or 6 people, depending on exactly how you count, that all liked playing Armored Core. Anyway, so yeah, basically. So anyway, those are the big 3 archetypes that you got to deal with. Yeah. And everything below that is, so like, go to number 9. This guy is like awful. This guy is just terrible. This is a massive like noob check build. So it's a red lamb, so it's NGI, and it just floats around in the skybox, and it's got 2 split missiles that it just keeps firing at you over and over again, and they keep hitting you in the back. And it's got Javelin Beta, which is a very good missile versus approach, because it's got that, if you've ever used it, it's got like a weird like horizontal like flank hook trajectory. And it does good burst impact, and it gets around shields, so that's really good versus approach. And he basically just floats backwards and just spams all of that at you. And if you know how to dodge splits in J Beta, you kill him. If you don't, you die. And this build is a pure movement check build. He does that until you accumulate a bunch of stagger. Then he pulls out the whip on his from his weapon bay and whips you with it, and that does pretty good stagger damage. It used to be fucked. It used to be so overpowered. It's pretty moderate. It's pretty mid now. Like, it's okay, but people generally moved away from it. Like, old Red Lamb used to use hammer, but this guy is like brainless. He has me blocked on Twitter because I made fun of him for like running into my bazookas that I fired from across the map. This is like a real. So this is a build. Why did I want to show you this? I wanted to show you this as like an example of. This is a very mid-tier build, but it's still number 9 on the ladder. And it's because he just farms. He just absolutely farms people who don't know how to move, and there are just many, many, many of those. So this is a kind of build like I wouldn't play something that loses to this because this is just like a creature build. So I think what I want to do. What do I want to do next? I also just wanted to show you that to give you sort of an example of like what like an off meta build sort of looks like. Like what a successful off meta build looks like. But man, I could never play that thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with a community is like interested and like tight knit as Verdict Day. You can't just rely on fucking mass knowledge checking people. So that's like because I do that a lot in this game because like my build sucks. Lethal Dose is just bad. But it just obliterates people that don't know how to deal with it. So the current canonical heavy biped build, I guess. Huh? Yeah. I don't know because like it got turbo nerfed a while back, which was outrageous because like I don't know, it was a big noob killer. I'm trying to think like who plays this. I don't know anyone on the leaderboard that still plays this. Yeah, so I'll help you build it to the best of my knowledge. So we'll start with just unequip all your weapons. It should just be R. Like you just like if you go back, press escape. Now just press R. Okay, you're on controller. You're not on keyboard. I don't know anything about controller. Can you reach? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay. Now I'll do the frame first. For legs, they're the super heavy, like, bell-bottom biped. Yeah, right there. Okay, and then... So, there are a couple versions of this which use different arms. I'll build you the one that I know. So, it'll be Tian Lao, the giant fucking linebacker shoulders are the heaviest. Yeah, those. And then... Oh my god, what? It must have used... So the core will be VE40A. It's, that one, yep. Oh god, what head did it use? Probably, I don't know, just chuck Varel on it. Varel is a good, heavy head. It's very, very stat dense. Varel is your go-to. If you're building a heavy build, Varel is the head that you want. It's just a stat brick. And it's got not great scan, but it's got good scan. Because there are a lot of heads in this game that have like absolutely intolerable scan, and Varel is definitely not one of them. It's really good defensive scan because it's a good. If you play defensive, you want like rapid cycling scan more than you want scan that like lasts ages. And that's yeah. So the interval is how long it takes to. Oh yeah, they changed that standby time. Because apparently people didn't know what interval meant. But yeah, so its scan like cycles pretty rapidly. 5.5 seconds is pretty good, and its duration is longer than its scan. So is longer than its standby time. So you can keep it up 100% of the time. Its scan range isn't great, but it's also not bad. So it's like I don't know. I like Ferrell scan. So weapons, dual Zims. And back weapons are dual MLT-10. Go up. Keep going up. Right there. Yeah. And then for its booster, it probably did use P10. Because P10, you can just boost forever. Like it's so inexpensive. And then generator, I'm pretty sure it used Santai. Santai was like the go-to heavy generator, and then Oculus. It was definitely an Oculus machine. So this thing was just like a big ol' fuck you to like, I don't know, basically everything. What it did was like the MLT-10s. So chain missiles are really, really good at like herding kites. Herding as in HERDING. They just control movement really, really well because it's 2 chains of 10 missiles, and if you're not an idiot, you fire one and then you fire the other. So it's a big long chain of 20 missiles, and it prevents kites from just moving straight backward. So they have to devote some of their movement budget to strafing. So it gives you the ability to catch up to them, and your giant fuck you defense stack means that they can't really stay that far away from you because they start ricocheting. Yeah, the higher your defense, the less range anything of that damage type will have, except explosive, because nothing explosive ricochets. But energy and kinetic, yeah, the further you go, so for damage, it's like, so you're at 1320 kinetic defense. That means that you block 32% of kinetic damage. Yeah, it's because you are 300, you're 320 over 1,000. 1,000 is like you take exactly the listed damage. And then, yeah, energy defense, you block 35.2%, and explosive damage, you block 30.7%. And it is possible if you go under 1,000 defense, you start taking more damage, like you have anti-defense. And the ricochet distance, I don't remember the exact calculation. I know that instead of being beyond 1,000, it's beyond 1,100, so the higher you are over 1,100, the closer things have to get to you before they start ricocheting. So, this thing has 14,000 AP. That's so retarded. So yeah, this thing's like very straightforward. It's just like you run people down, and you can boost forever and ever and ever, and you use your 2 back missiles to force them to use up all their boost avoiding the missiles, and then you blap them with Zims. And you kick a lot. You kick a whole lot on this thing. It's called Power Baka. Yeah, because, I mean, that's just what it is. And it's after the nerfs that, like, several of its parts got, because, like, the Oculus isn't, like, a, like, infallible aimbot anymore. And its arms got their accuracy nuked. So in Hardlock, what kites will do, the cannon heavy. What kites will do is they literally will just watch for you to raise your arms. And as soon as they see you raising your arms, they'll just press dodge roll, and you just miss. And because your arms, the firearm spec on Tian Lao arms got nuked so hard, that combined with the close range assist of Oculus going from 90 down to whatever it is now, like 80 or whatever. I don't remember what they took it down to. Basically, yeah, so the targeting stats, here's how they work. When someone does a dodge action, i.e. quick boosting, or like doing an AB strafe, or jumping off of the ground, your crosshair will like lag behind them a little bit. The red reticle will like not be directly on them, and it's the combination of your firearm spec and your FCS's aim assist value at whatever range that you're at, which determines how long it takes for the crosshair to catch back up to them. Essentially, yes. In CQC, like lightweights in CQC, if you don't have any like AOE weapons, they can evade you until they run out of energy, and then they run out of energy and they explode. But at longer range, when you aren't like right there, they can basically avoid you forever. And it's because like Tian Lao got made so much more sluggish, and Oculus got made slower, and that's why modern versions of this build trade Tian Lao. Some of them use ephemera. Do you play much like old gen, like pre 4th gen? So so are you familiar at all with the lemur arms? Yeah, ephemera is the lemur arms of this game. Yeah, they're ridiculous. I mean, look at the weight difference. They are 14,000 lighter than Tian Lao. But your effective AP, I mean, your energy defense literally goes up. Your effective, they're very, very stat dense, and they've got much better aim properties than Tian Lao. So, and you also end up going a lot faster. So, a lot of power buckets switched to ephemera. Basically, so in general, the reason I showed you this build is that it illustrates a lot of what's going on with like heavy rushdown gameplay all at once. You want missiles, particularly chain missiles, to force movement, and then you want something in your arms. If you're on a biped, you want something in your arms that doesn't stance, that can follow up on. It's like while you're spamming your chain missiles and they're dodging those, you overwhelm their ability to dodge by hitting them with whatever you have in your arms. Zims are really nice just because they've got a decent rate of fire once every 2 seconds, and that's decent in 6th gen. And they are a spread weapon, so they make up for bad targeting performance, and they are the high velocity. I think they're 550. They might be 500 meters per second, which is just the borderline of what you need to be able to hit anything. And you fire them one at a time. You don't double fire them. Yeah, you want to fire them in assault boost as much as possible because you get a plus 20% impact bonus. It does not increase projectile speed though, because FromSoft was very afraid of fast projectiles when they made this game. That's the general pattern for heavies. Heavy bipeds are like, they used to be really good, but like kites whined about them, and so they got buried. There's a version of this build that uses a shield instead of the left MLT-10. That's kind of a side grade that you lose a lot of ability to force move, and it's 61 PS. It's either 61 PS or 61 PB are the two that you're looking at. If you have the mobility and energy to disengage and dodge, you want to use PB because it's got one less parry than PS does. But its parries make you invincible. Like, it blocks 96% of damage and 95% of impact on parry. And it's only the IG stuff that you care about. You don't really care about the standard like damage mitigation and impact dampening stats. You only care about the IG stuff because that you use these things as parry tools. So PB can parry 3 times, and then while it's cooling, you rely on your ability to dodge or disengage. And PS can parry 4 or 5 times. I can't remember. It's 4 or 5 times. Yeah, it does. It does make you easier to kite. It basically brings down the because like with 2 MLT10s, you can force movement on builds that are at like 65k weight. With only 1 MLT10, you can only really meaningfully force movement on builds that are down around or basically mid weights. 2 MLT10s will force movement on lightweights. Only 1 MLT10 doesn't force enough movement on lightweights, but you can still mess up midweights with it. The stats on the legs on this build also got hurt a lot. They used to be even more busted than they are now. And there are really no heavyweight biped alternative legs. These are the only heavyweight biped legs that really exist in the game. The others do technically exist, but their existence is only technical. Because they're like, yeah, well, it's like they look like they exist, but they're not real. Because they don't lose enough weight to justify the stat loss. Because if you are in heavy biped territory, you're in like snail legs territory, which are these. It's the same thing with heavy arms. There's only one heavy arm that is ever worth using, and it's Tian Lao. Because none of the other arms lose enough weight to justify the stat loss versus Tian Lao. Yeah, so because they have to compete with Ephemera, and Ephemera is just lemur. So I gather in old gen it was kind of the same. It was kind of a similar deal, just because lemur was so stacked. It was like, why would I spend an extra, 8,000 weight on these heavyweight arms to get like an extra 10% defense? Yeah, so it's the exact same thing with Ephemera. So, when you are building heavy builds, Varel is your head, Ephemera are your arms. Those are what you want to aim for. You'll sometimes end up with energy load problems for those, though, because they're very expensive. The difference between the cores you were just looking at, so 40A is a core for regen generators, which are blue and orange. And main dish is a core for red line generators, so coral generators, which is just NGI because aorta is fake. It just doesn't. It's just terrible. It's so bad. You lose 1,400 capacity versus NGI, and your red line time decreases by less than half a second. It's just bad. So also, EN recharge delay is not red line time. Red line time is a stat that is not displayed. So EN recharge delay is how long it takes before you start recharging outside of red line. Your red line time is like a completely different number. It's related, but it's not the same. So main dish, the reason that you use it with, and if I'm ever telling you stuff that you already know, just tell me. Main dish, yeah. So main dish, you use it with redline gens because of its generator supply adjustment. That changes your recharge delay and your redline delay. Output adjustment adjusts your output. Surprise, surprise. And main dish is bad about that. There'll be generators that work fine on other cores. You won't be energy overloaded on other cores, but you will be energy overloaded on main dish because your generator just outputs less energy on main dish. It's kind of like yeah. Yeah, that's why 20B builds always use 40A. 20B tanks always use 40A, because 40A is the heavyweight recharge generator, main dish is the heavyweight redline generator, and Tian Quang is like not a core. Nobody uses that anymore. Oh, no, actually, yeah, so that's what used to be on this build. This build used to use Tian Quang core, because it has an absolute... Yeah, I'm very white. How do you actually pronounce that? Tian Chang? Yeah, okay. But yeah, okay. So people used to use this, like TQ. I'm just gonna call it TQ. People used to use TQ on this build because it has an absolutely absurd amount of stability. Its stability is just crazy, and it also that used to be the case because everybody used to use double majestic, and majestic has 1,000 impact, so that was basically like a breakpoint that you had to hit. That Yeah, so that stability, that breakpoint doesn't really exist anymore because Majestic is terrible now. Uh, it's just bad. It's really bad. uh, it's because there used to be a bug on tanks where it didn't have like a stance wind-up animation. You would just push the button and it would instantly fire. And it's great. It's how guns should operate. But like everybody in this game has been so like hypnotized by expecting, like, oh, I should get a fucking please dodge now, beep beep warning. Yeah, so everybody expects to, like, everybody feels entitled to have that warning. So everybody like complained that they had to like preemptively dodge Majestic, and so that bug got fixed, and then everybody stopped using Majestic. So, because that's fine. Oh my god, I hate it when I accidentally pronounce things like very white. Okay, so TQ. The reason people don't use it anymore, I don't remember exactly what stats got hit. Hold on just a second. What was it? It was its supply adjustment. Yeah, it's the one that you're looking at right now. I got Strider sitting next to me, and he's telling me like, "What's up?" So its supply adjustment it's 70. Do you know what it used to be? Yeah, he doesn't know what it used to be. But it used to not be that terrible. So you just had to wait forever to get to start recharging. 1.3 seconds on Santai is outrageous. And it kills your mobility because you have to sit there waiting for so long. It's still a stat brick, but it's a stat brick that just ruins your mobility, and no one uses this on anything now. Because if you at that point, if you're like waiting 1.3 seconds, my red line time on NGI on main dish is less than double that. It's like you just wait an extra, because you're gonna wait a while. That's the 1.3 seconds is like you wait that long until your energy starts recharging, and then you have to wait for it to recharge. Main dish, I can get 3,100 energy back in like 2.6 seconds instantly on main dish. So if you're thinking about TQ, you just use main dish and you go red line gen. That's a little bit of an oversimplification, but it's accurate enough. So for generators, Santai is like, Strider tells me that Santai, like Zim Shield wants Santai. Is that still true? Yeah, it's not as universal as it used to be because it got... What happened to Santai? Did you hear that? Okay, it's like redline delay got... both its energy recharge delay and its redline delay got gutted. And the amount of energy... Man, they nuked this thing! So it's both the delays were gutted, and the amount of energy that you get on redline after like the redline refresh got it as well. Yeah. So the paradigm that has happened over the course of AC6 is basically like Santai Gen plus Burzel Booster used to be like the wombo combo. Like everybody used to, like, that used to be the thing that you used. And now it's basically 20B and SPD. There's a little extra. There's like a little more variety, but like it's basically those two. Yeah, 20B and SBD. I think people are using. There's some people are using Flugel now. I'm not really sure what's up with that. Because my boosters are my legs, so boosters are not my department of expertise. Yeah, and it's just not a bad generator. Like, you just don't really, like, trade that much to get an extra 25% damage on all of your weapons. On all your energy weapons. Also, just so you know, so, like, energy weapon spec, 20B is 150. That means it... So, the value over 100, so that, in this case, that's 50, have that, and that gives you the energy amping, and... yeah, so it does 25% more damage, and you take the 50 directly, and that's the amount by which your charge time is decreased. So charge times are cut in half. Yes, and that's why people use 20B Nebula. Like, it makes Nebula completely insane. Their energy weapons in this game are almost universally 20B exclusive, or 20C if you can't fit 20B. There are two 20Cs because we love Arquebus's naming conventions. VE20C is the one that has good energy amping. It's the second best energy amp in the game. Yeah, it's like outrageously heavy. That's why 20B is so crazy, because it's less than 6,000 weight for a generator that has like 3,300 capacity, and it doesn't like take very long to recharge either. And when you put it on Born, you're just a fucking tank shit fuck machine 9,000. Because Born, just the way that it moves, I think I've talked to you about this before, it just air kicks. Just air kick after air kick after air kick, and each air kick only costs 144 energy, and you have 3,300 capacity. So you can just do it forever. And Born doesn't use any energy. Like, it has no passive energy drain. It does, but very little. And you don't need to equip a booster as well, so you don't have the energy drain of a booster either. And I have a program that does like OCR to read speedometer values off of the screen in AC6 clips, and I tested the average speed of like Born air kicking across the test chamber at 115k weight, and then at 135k weight, and or 145k weight, and the extra 30k weight did not change its average air kick speed. Like, you just average 300 kilometers an hour. So what do I want to talk about next? I guess, like, if do you prefer biped over quad? So if you want to build heavier, quad is generally, you're probably better off doing not Varel. Varel is just awful. It's so slow. It's so fucking heavy. It's just, I mean, so as far as its grounded neutral goes, it is slower than tanks. It also has bad hover speed. It's just very clunky and unresponsive. Yes, it is, but it's unlisted. I've sent links to AC6 Advanced Garage before. It shows a lot more stats. So generally, when you're build crafting, use Advanced Garage, because it gives you so much more information. And the information that it gives you will always result in never choose Varel. Compare it to 424, because like quad's advantage is their stability, and you lose like less than 50. Yeah, you lose like 47 stability going down to 424, but you lose 5k weight, which is a big deal. On quads, you generally want to stay like under 100k. I'll take everything that I ever tell you here with an asterisk, just because like I am tank. I just don't do legs. But I have hung around in ACD enough to like pick up on what other people have said, and I've played an ungodly number of hours, so I know what I run into and I know how it performs. So if you want heavy, 424 is 424 can be a decent platform for that. So here's the thing, but yep. Because it gives you more stancing options like Nebula. It generally you have better mobility options. So in AC6, quads stance better than tanks. Don't ask. Yeah, it's because the way that tanks move. So like there are basically two tanks in the game. Chair is not real. Yeah, it's just so sad because it used to be really good. It used to be like there used to be some interesting chair builds, but it just sucks now. So quad, the reason that it stances better than tanks is because there are two tanks. There's Boat and Born. Born is constantly air kicking, so it can't stance while it's in the middle of a kick. It has to wait. It has to be between kicks to stance. Which means that it's not moving. Like it can't, like it's a tank and it can't move while it stances. Like, and Boat lives in AB, and you can't stance during AB. Boat just 100% lives in AB. You AB to cross distance and avoid damage, and then while you're redlined, you use your stance weapons. Boat doesn't, and that's the fact that Boat leans so heavily on AB and you can't stance in AB means that you don't really actually want stance weapons on Boat, because you have very bad stability. Boat has extremely bad stability for its weight. It's like you're hard locked to main dish core on Boat because Boat does not want to be on the ground ever. That's an exaggeration, but it very rarely wants to be on the ground. And the only way that you can ever get any energy in the air is using NGI. Because you just get your in like 3 point whatever seconds, you get however much 3100 energy back. You don't have to, because in the air. So if you are in the air with your boosters on, then you recharge at 1/20th of the rate of normal. And if you are, and this isn't just on Boat, this is universal. Being in the air with your boosters on, 1/20th of the rate of normal. If you are free falling, so you're in the air with your boosters off, it's 1/10th the rate of normal. So you just don't recharge in the air, in other words. Like, unless you're at or above 6,000 energy supply efficiency, you just can't recharge in the air. But Boat doesn't care about that, because it uses NGI and it uses main dish. And main dish you use both because of its redline assistance and because of its enormous stability. Main dish has the highest stability of any core in the game, and it's the only thing that will get Boat over 2,000. TQ will, but like you can't use TQ on Boat because of its redline. And so, like, yeah, you don't want to be on the ground, and you're always in the air, you're always ABing, and that's why you don't want to stance. Like, Boat is a tank that doesn't want to stance, and Born is a tank that it kind of doesn't matter if it stances, because Born can't move anyway. So it doesn't matter that stances stop you, because you're always stopped, because you're on Born. But that's why tanks don't like stancing. Quads, on the other hand, you get into hover mode and you can just move around and stance all you want. And you can quick boost while you're hovering and moving around and stancing. So it's much easier to stay on top of people and hound them with stance weapons. So boosters on 424, I know that lots of people like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because it has crazy quick boost duration, so it just like shoves you around, like you just cover a lot of distance on every quick boost. and you can super lean into that. Just in general, if you are ever building a quad and you want help with it, you can ping Pillager, and you can ping a guy called Tsu, just TSU. Both of them play 424 quads, and they're very good at it. What other? Hold on just a second. What other boosters do 44s use other than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Are there any? NGI. Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes they use NGI, but it's extraordinarily expensive. NGI, it gives you way better, like AB sprint, but not really by enough to matter. But it's just horrendously expensive. Like, it's very powerful, but it just eats up all of your energy. People on 424, unless they're kind, generally will use VE40A core and 20D for their generator. 20D is extremely heavy, but it has the interesting property that it can operate both as a redline gen and a recharge gen. So it's a cool generator, and it's been buffed like several times. It's still like 424 is like not a top level, is like not a top tier archetype, and 20D is not a top tier generator, but you can still do interesting things with them, and they're very fun builds to play. And so what Pillager does, Pillager's build is on the back, he's got Container and Coral Missile. And the reasons for that are because, so Coral Missile fires like the main like Screamer Missile, and it starts spawning like a bunch of little squigglers, and the uncharged version, the difference is that one of them is usable and the other is not. You never use uncharged Coral Missile, like unless you just absolutely like desperately need to finish a stagger or something on someone that's like close to you. But even then, like, it doesn't take that long to charge, compared to its lock on. It's like by the time you lock on with it, you're basically charged already. It has kind of a neat thing that you can do where if it's charged, you can like just fire it straight down into the ground, and it'll explode and like hurt people that are next to you. And AC6 doesn't have self damage, so it doesn't do anything to you, and it blows up whoever's on top of you. So the combination of Coral and Container is cool because the Container basically just like, it's Coral Missile, except it's just the squigglers. So it doesn't fire a main missile, and it doesn't require a lock on, and it doesn't require charging. So you can fire Container. I think I've told you this before. If you fire Container at someone that you're not locked onto at all, it behaves like AS missiles. Just, it'll auto-seek anything within 200 meters of each individual missile. And if you fire it so it doesn't require a missile lock on, like you don't have to sit there and lock the missiles on. But if you're just like locked onto someone, you're looking at them and they're in range, all of the micro missiles that come out of the pod will then like track whoever you were locked onto when you fired it. Yeah. You don't have to continue being locked onto them. It just like saves the target and continues chasing them. And you like super want to like, yeah, if you're on the ground firing it, you want to be looking up, otherwise it'll just go into the ground. But generally you just want to be in the air when you fire it. So now if you turn on MAIM, like whatever your like hard lock button is, just hold that down. Yeah, and now if you fire it, you'll notice that the missiles will travel to the point where your crosshair was when you fired it. And then, yeah, when they get within a certain distance, they'll just like find a target and seek them. So you can use it to harass people from outside of lock range and force them to change their pathing as they come in closer to you. And like when you are, so like right now you can see that your coral missile is locked on. That doesn't, if you're in manual aim like that, that doesn't count as your container missile being locked on, even if you've got another weapon, like another missile that's locked on. To lock on with container, you have to have your FCS turned on. So on his arms, Pillager uses left arm explosive thrower, right arm nebula. The laser shotgun that you've got is also like Tsu uses that on quad, and it's like very fast cycle. It's good burst impact, and it harasses people. You basically, this combo, like what you're using is basically like a combination of Pillager's and Tsu's builds. Yeah, that's the thing about laser shotgun's charge shot. It's got, it just like disappears at a certain range. It doesn't like explode. But if it hits target, if it hits like a surface or a target, it does explode. So it's really good for firing down on kites, and it's got really fast cycle. These builds are super fun to play. I don't know what arms and head they use, because you've got 6,000 supply efficiency right now. That's pretty damn good. I don't think you need to worry about. Varel and Ephemera is probably fine. If you really want to know what they use, you can like ping them at some time and like ask them to show you their builds. But like this is like a really good stat line. I don't know if this, so like it's 99k weight. They might do some stuff to save weight because like 20D is like a big boy. It's a very heavy generator. When Pillager talks about this build, the build that he uses, he says that he does a lot of knowledge checking. Because he is on Nebula and Explosive Thrower. So the trade-off, like between what Tsu does, I think Tsu just uses 2 laser shotguns like on his arms, and that's like a lot of spam. The trade-off is that he doesn't have good accumulated impact tools on his arms. Nebula and Explosive Thrower are both extraordinarily good accumulated impact tools. So, and they're both great at harassing approachers. Coral is like when you're being approached. Quad, so you got the advantage. You've got good aerial neutral, so you can just like back up as someone's approaching you, and you can like, you can harass them with Explosive Thrower, you can harass them with Nebula, and force them to try to path around all of that, and that gives you extra time to lock on with Coral. So you can see that you've got a lot of defensive harassment tools. Like, you've got a lot that you can throw at people as they try to close in on you. It struggles versus kites. Like, it struggles versus people who like pressing S a lot, but... Coral Missile is actually very good against people who like backpedaling because it forces a lot of movements, and kite builds are like, they can... So, like, the lighter you are, the quicker you start to de-stagger. Like, the quicker you start to, like, dissipate your stagger bar. Everyone, once you get staggered, you're staggered for 2 seconds. Like, it doesn't matter what your weight is, unless you get stagger extended, you're extended for 2 seconds. But lightweights, they are so... People have figured out how to use neutral so well at this point that you can just avoid everything. Like, you can go so long getting no hit, and you don't have to go very long getting no hit to start destaggering. So, the reason that this can struggle against, the reason that Coral Missile is good against lightweights is because squigglers are, it's a lot of like volume of fire. It's a lot of things to avoid, and they've got quite good tracking. So they prevent destagger basically, and they do true damage. So Explosive Thrower is short range. Like, even the charge shot doesn't go very far. It's like a maximum of 200. You'll get more range. You'll get more effective range on Explosive Thrower if people are like chasing into it. Obviously, the charge shot changes it from a horizontal spread to like almost vertical spread, but it also increases its range by a lot, and it increases its velocity by a lot. And it's just generally good at controlling space, and so is Nebula. Your arm weapons control a lot of space, but they're not good at chasing. So you lean, when you're chasing with this thing, you lean really, really heavily on using your missiles to force movement and using Nebula to chip, to get like consistent chip damage. And chip damage is what this game operates on. You basically win rounds by like chipping your enemy into AP disadvantage. Most builds don't really win rounds by like doing like big burst attacks. And the converse side to Explosive Thrower being good versus approach is that its effective range is shortened versus like people that are backing away from you. So Tsu, his build with the double laser shotties, I don't know what he uses on his back. That you would have to ask him. Do you know what Tsu uses on his back? He's got 2 laser shotguns and he's got 1 container. I don't know what's on his other shoulder. Probably. That's good for chasing. So a container and like a Duo 2. I don't know that that's it. Strider just suggested that to me, but Duo 2 is like, it spams. Like, just spam it at this guy and you'll see how quick it comes up again. Unless he dies on the first shot. So you just keep doing that while your container missile is also harassing him, and you like with dual laser shotguns, that has so much uptime. Like it's just constant, like blap 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 blap. And that is, you've got your chase tools on this are a lot better. But your defensive tools aren't quite as good. It's the dual laser shotties is a lot of saturation, and you definitely can use them uncharged, because it's a lot of spam and it builds up a lot of impact. You just got to be careful not to overheat them. And when you are hovering, so there'll be times where you want to neutral. There'll be times where you want to like quick boost. Quick boost is you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on at the moment. Yeah, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. It moves you really far, and you can use it both. You can use it for strafing, you can use it for backpedaling, and you can use it for chasing. And you can see what I mean about how quads, they can stay very mobile while they're stancing things. So you can cover in hover mode with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can cover tons of distance, and you can keep harassing people with stance weapons as you chase them down and harass them like that. So you're basically using missile saturation from your back and just like spam saturation on your arms while you harass people and stay on top of them. And 20D gives you energy back pretty quickly. Like you're on like 6,000 something energy efficiency. If you like drop out of hover mode and watch your energy recharge, you just like whoop. Yeah, you just get your whole energy bar back super fast. And if you're really, really trying to stay on top of someone, its redline time isn't bad either. So if you like deplete all your energy redline, you'll see how long, how quickly it is before you get some energy back. And the amount of energy you get back is non-trivial too. Like you get basically like a third of your energy bar back, and then if you're on the ground, you instantly regenerate all the rest of it. So it's the combination of generator and core on this build gives you a lot of, it just gives you a lot of uptime, and the weapons that you have give you a lot of uptime too. So yeah, like Tsu's loadout is generally better for chasing, weaker for defending against approach. Pillagers is weaker for chasing and better for defending against approach. I think Pillagers in general is harder to use, just because the arm weapons have such limited chase ability. So you really have to know how to cross distance. So that's basically those are the two most popular that I know of, like 424 builds. Kine, and both of them scoot, like both of them like operating in hover mode and quick boosting. Kyan used to make 424 builds that use NGI booster to operate in AB, and they use NGI generator, and they use main dish core, and I think that he likes using bazookas. Oh, also FCS. Hold on, for these builds, since you're using coral missile, the FCS that you want. Oh, I don't know what FCS. Oh wait, this doesn't have coral missile. Yeah, this can use. Probably Talbot. You use Walt on this. Go to Walt. Let me see what your energy supply efficiency drops to. Oh my god, this thing was at 91. Yeah, 8300 is still fine. Because the thing with Walt is that it's got extremely good performance, like basically everywhere. But it just sucks energy. Like it just absolutely devours energy. But you don't care. You got 20D and VE core, so it doesn't matter to you. Walt is a very good anti-kite FCS. Like it's good at like tracking people mid-range. Because they really so Kyan's quads are, I think the last let's see. I wish you could load builds in the test chamber. That would be super cool. Kyan's quads are they don't operate in hover most of the time. He does hover sometimes. That's definitely not a Kyan quad. Well, maybe he was experimenting with Lamb for a while, and yeah, he used to use Varel. He used to love Varel. He switched to 424 when Varel got nuked. But like his quads, he likes doing. I don't know. Maybe he was messing with this recently. I thought that this was a Lamb, but it's a 424, so maybe he was messing around with this. The last quads that I'm aware that he uses these fucking like main dish core. You go NGI generator. I love Kyan's builds so much. Like Kyan's one of my favorite players in this game. NGI booster. This is just like a fuck quad. What arms does he use? Probably ephemera. He might have gone C3 for accuracy, but he's probably on ephemera. And I think he uses dual coral missile. I don't know if that fits. There's no way that he has energy for that. Oh my god, NGI magic. And I'm pretty sure that he might have had a version that had an explosive thrower on the left arm. But I know that for a long time he used double majestic. But like head, there's no way Varel fits. There's no way Varel head fits. Yeah, okay. I was waiting for it. It's like, what's the cost? What FCS do you have on this right now? Yeah, you don't want PO5. So if you're using Coral Missile, the only FCS that you can use is SLT. It's way up toward the top. Yeah, that one. Because it's the only thing that makes Coral Missile lock on in a sane amount of time. But, like, it sucks at guns. It makes your gunplay so sluggish. I don't know how Kyan put up with this machine. Because I guess his movement's good enough that he's able to stay on top of people and actually hit them. Because, like, SLT and Majestic is just... Ugh. I would never use it, but Kyan's a crazy person. So, on this build, you don't operate in hover most of the time. There are some times where you operate in hover, but most of what you do is AB. And when you're ABing, you generally want to be... You missed! Oh my god. SLT moment. But, I mean, I guess he's got double Coral Missile. So double Coral Missile forces a lot of movement. And with double Coral Missile on SLT, you fire them one at a time, and you can basically have a Coral Missile active, like, not always, but pretty damn close to always. And you can't hover. If you're, like, trying to, like, on this build, if you're trying to maintain distance, hover is still, like, a great option. So yeah, you get close to people, you kick them, they eat 2 Coral Missiles, and then you just start harassing them with Majestic. Like... And that just one-cycles people. Like, if you hit the combo, it, like, one-cycles people. But, like, you're a fat boy. and you use a lot of energy to move. So on something like this, you really have to time your rush down around your missiles. Like you really have to make sure that, because if you're rushing down dry with no missiles after them, they have no reason. There's nothing that pressures them to move in a way that allows you to catch them. But if you do have missiles after them, they are avoiding, they're avoiding Hiroshima and Nagasaki from each of your shoulders. Like there's a lot of pressure for them to get away from those missiles, and that stops them from going straight backwards. And the squigglers from 2 coral missiles can accumulate a lot of impact over time. One thing with coral missile is that you don't use it in CQC because of its because of the homing shutoff distance. If you use it in CQC, it basically the homing instantly deactivates, and they just go into the ground. It's secret technology. You can maim them into the ground, like I said, if you're right on top of somebody. But other than that, you just don't use them in CQC. They're there to allow you to get into CQC, not to assist you while you're there. Unless you catch people with the ultra combo. If you catch people with the kick while you've got 2 coral missiles coming in at the right time, then they super help you in CQC. You just have to get used to, because no projectiles have any kind of velocity inheritance in this game. So you can... Yeah, it is a shame. I love jousting. I think that velocity inheritance is an awesome mechanic. If it's implemented well, it can definitely be done badly. But so you can, if you're going super fast and you launch a slow projectile like coral missile that starts off slow and then accelerates, you will absolutely be going faster than the missiles that you just launched, and they'll be behind you. So that's it. The upside of that is that it creates some cool things that you can do, like what Kind did with this build. I don't know. I know what Kind's opinions on this game are right now, which leads me to believe that he got bodied using this build probably by kites. But Kind also competes for #1. So he's not satisfied using a build that is just fun to use and allows him to compete at a mid-level. He needs something that can allow him to dominate the leaderboard. And nothing that he likes playing does that anymore, just because of the kite cancer. But right now, as you go through ranks, you won't really start dealing with a bunch of kite cancer until you get to S rank. You'll see a little bit of it in A rank, but all the way up through that climb up to S rank, you won't really have to deal with the fucking ultra optimized bullshit that's at the top of the ladder. And the A rank climb takes forever. It's just a grind. And all the other ranks you just blast through, but the A rank climb takes forever. The upside of that is that it gives you a lot of time to get used to. It gives you a lot of time to learn matchup spreads. Me and Disco basically, I've got an alt that's permanently in A rank, and I use it as a way to. Me and Disco use okay, if this build doesn't beat things in A rank, it's out. It's just a litmus test. So that's basically, I feel that's a lot of the builds that I talked about, that I've been talking about here, should give you an idea of the space that someone like you would probably be operating in. There are definitely people that use heavy bipeds, and they don't appear in the top 100. But there's most people in S aren't in the top 100. And they're heavy bipeds. I don't know. I'm trying to think. When's the last time that I saw? Oh yeah. So probably the heavy bipeds that quote unquote work, you probably wouldn't enjoy, because they are not rushdown builds at all. They are not brawlers at all. They're Hindenburgs. They're just blimps. They use, yeah. So snail legs. Do you have this saved? Do you want to save? Did you want to like save the kind build? Okay, cool. So, yeah, snail legs, VE core. VE core? Yeah, it would be. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, VE, that's that one. VE 40A. Arms, I had you just leave it on Varel unless you have to change it. Arms probably leave on Ephemera unless you have to change it. I don't really know about that. Back weapons. So 2 LCDs. If that's generally going to be your first hint that this is not a great build, because back cannons in this game are just bad. Back cannons are just bad. It's too much investment and it's not enough reward. A lot of weight, yeah, and it's a yeah. So yeah, so I mean that's the Chloro way. Chloro's a crazy person. Yeah, well, I mean, to his credit, like, well, it's like you were telling me earlier. You said that like you feel like the melee stuff is like really sexy, like heavy melee, like the heavy dagger sling stuff is like really sexy, but you would probably like go bald trying to like learn the inputs. Uh, I same, not my thing. I come from a background of shooter games. I don't do like button combos. Fighting games are not my thing. So I don't do like memorized button combo sequences. It's just simply not me. Uh, so I played around with it for a little bit in the test chamber, and like Chloro's thing is that he built in a way that made his quick boost timing like exactly what it needs to be in order to enable the dagger sling, because your quick boost reload changes based off of what your weight is. And he made it so that if he quick boosts at his maximum rate, it's perfect timing for dagger sling. So the game basically handles the timing for him. He just as far as I understand, he just spams quick boost and presses dagger at the right time. So he doesn't need to actually time his quick boosts, which is clever. I think that build is very funny, and I'm glad that he can kill kites with it, because God, it's super not for me. This build, on the other hand, the blimp build. So in your hand, you want a HML-04, so it's a hand missile. Yep, that one, and a split missile is just below it. And for booster, oh, it gets worse. It gets worse. So it either uses it's either NGI, Gridwalker, or SPD. Gridwalker because it just all it does is up down. Like it's Oculus. You definitely want Oculus. Because the hand missiles don't take any time to lock on whatsoever. As for generator, can you fit 20B? Probably not. How far off? 3? Yeah, that's not fitting 20B. You want 20C. You might, because it's 300 over. Hold on, let me see 20B again. So it's your 300. You're not taking 300 energy off this thing. Yeah, you're definitely gonna want to use 20C. VE 20C. Sorry, fucking naming conventions. Yeah, that's just outrageous. Yeah, and the lasers are your big damage dealers. So you go up and you go down, and you force people to chase into you as you go up. Like the vert thrust is crazy. Like you do up down very fast. And yeah, so like when you're in the air, you can use the LCD charge to splash people that are on the ground. And while they're approaching you, if they're approaching you, most of the build's LCD use is uncharged. Because people are trying to chase you. Because you get AP lead because you are very fat. Like you just don't take any damage. So it's easy for you to get a P lead, because everything that you throw at someone does more damage than what they throw at you. And they try to get close to you, and this is one of the few builds where you double fire things. So when they get close to you, you just double fire your LCDs, and it just like munches them. Like, it's just a lot of damage. It's not, you can't really test something like this versus the test bot because it never leaves the ground and it input reads. So it just like dodges everything that you throw at it. But if you turn its AI off and then just walk up to it and just pummel it with 2 LCDs, you'll see how much damage that this thing does. Blap, minus 3,000 health. Blap. So these builds are very exploitable. These builds are a massive knowledge check. They're a much bigger knowledge check than any of the other builds that I've shown you. Yes, you did see that right. One of your LCDs did literally just miss at point blank range. Because this game has a lot of like animation slop. If you have just kicked someone, your core will be rotated, and oftentimes the stance will not rotate your core fast enough to align your weapons before the firing delay ends, and they'll just fire off to one side. It's not as big of a problem with LCD as some other weapons, but it is still a problem. And that like clunky animation jank is one of the reasons that back cannons are like not really used. But this thing is a massive knowledge check. If someone doesn't know how to chase like a vertical movement, then you just destroy them. I think that the preference for this, the modern booster preference for something like this is NGI, just because like Gridwalker sucks at everything except for vertical movement. So if you end up needing to chase someone on Gridwalker, you just look so sad. Like, it looks. I'll try after we're done talking. I'll dig up a clip that I have against a blimp like this, and when they AB, it's just like, oh, that's so cute. Like, look at it try to go forward. But go ahead. No, you go. Okay, well, NGI is like an everything booster. It's like the Varel head. It's. I don't know anything about Flugel. I don't know if it's a heavyweight anything booster. You can ask other people that about. You can ask other people about that in ACD. But I don't know. I don't really know anything about Flugel. It got buffed recently. I know about NGI because I think that it's a super sexy booster because I like stuff that's just like, yeah, it's got a pretty tight spread. Yeah, it's as far as bat cannons go, LCD is one of the better ones. LCS is bad. It's got like Chloro is about the only. Chloro's build is about the only thing that you would ever use LCS on ever. Nothing actually happened to them. People just learned how to play the game, and so their numbers are crazy. Like, versus people that don't know the secrets of neutral, they're awesome. But they rely on repeat fire, because their whole thing is like their rate of fire. And so they stance you really hard. And they give just like all bat cannons, they have an extremely long, they've got like a stance wind up. And people get the beep when you start the stance wind up. So there's just a long window between the... Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're just extremely telegraphed. That's the case with basically all bat cannons. And it's also like, even without the beep, people that know how to move in neutral will just like, they move in a way that just doesn't allow the cannons to track properly. And like, people have just discovered over time that in general, cannons just force you to deal with a lot of animation jank. So it's just a stack of problems that basically like doomed them to irrelevance, but I still use them anyway because I'm on Starlink and I don't care. So yeah, they got nuked. they got nuked so bad. Their rate of fire got, for some godforsaken reason on release, their rate of fire was basically the same as LCS. So they did like how much more damage? Like 33% more damage for the same rate of fire, and way like they're like each at 650 impact, and their charge shot is a huge projectile. So it can be maimed really easily, and it leaves behind like a comet trail for like a second. So if people like quick boost into it after it passes them, it still does damage. I don't know what that means. They take forever to charge as well. They take forever to charge, and they take forever to cool, and they're extremely heavy. They're 9,000 weight. Like, that's just insane. They take forever to charge. They take forever to cool. They're just sluggish. They want to be a midpoint between LCS and LCA, but they're just not. LCD, yeah, they are. They do look fucking rad. The projectile on sexy weapons in AC6 are generally bad weapons. It's a shame. Fasan is so sexy too. God, I love that gun. God, I love that gun. It charges fast, it cools fast, and the charge shot is the fastest projectile in the game. It sounds awesome and it looks awesome. I just love it. Bye-bye. Alright. But yeah, so like heavy bipeds is another one that's fallen out of favor that operates similarly to like the missiles and cannons thing. It on its arms it uses like I think it's like a Rensetsu RF and a Harris. And this is basically the same build. Never use Rensetsu AR. Just don't do that. And yeah, I think it was a Rensetsu and a Harris. It might have just been two Rensetsus, but we'll see. And then on its back, it used two Soups, which is a missile launcher, giant missile, that one. Nope. And so Soup, its weird ass projectile makes it track downward really, really well. So when you're in the air, so you basically you just plink people with rifles as they approach you and just spam like one Soup, then the other Soup, then one Soup, then the other Soup. Because Soup's whole thing is its sustained fire. Each volley is 10 missiles, and it's got a magazine size of 30 missiles. So you get 3 10-missile volleys that track downward extremely well. And they force a lot of movement, and while people are dodging the Soup saturation, they run into all your rifle spam. And everything that you have is high impact. Like, both of your rifles build impact very well. Soup, when it hits, is very high impact. And when you stagger people, you've got 2 kinetics for punish, and that's a lot of punish damage. So everything plays hard luck. Like, everything that's good plays hard luck. Tanks don't. That's about it. And it's one of the reasons I only play tanks, because I don't do hard luck. But yeah, those are basically the heavyweight bipeds. Like, they were really the first neutral machines, and then people discovered that lightweight bipeds just did it better, and heavyweight bipeds fell out of favor. This build right here with the dual Soups and dual rifles is called Sandal Dance. It was piloted by a guy called Gakiro, and he was the very first guy that ever hit S rank in this game. And it's so funny. He just farmed people who didn't. He just farmed people who didn't know how to track vertical movement, and that's what I mean by this build is very exploitable, because once you figure out how to deal with someone doing vert kiting, it just falls apart. This build probably Gakiro probably used. He would have been on NGI probably, and he would have been on main dish core because it just lets you refresh your energy in the air, so you're very versatile. And I actually think that his first version of it used Tian Lao arms. Nope, it just spams. And it's like so his original version of it. You probably like want Walt. You want Walt or Talbot. Yeah, Walt if it fits. You definitely want that. And the original definitely used Gridwalker. It eventually switched to NGI just because everybody, like, you need the option to assault boost if you're heavy. Assault boost is generally, like, fallen out of favor as the primary movement mode in the game, but, like, if you're heavy, you just need the option. Unless you're unborn, then, like, you just air kick and it doesn't matter. But, yeah, just, because, like, its defenses are so stacked. Like, this thing's defenses are so stacked. So people have to get so close to you to do damage. And that entire time, you're just missiles and bullets are just pouring out of you. Cool concept. I don't like the way it plays. I completely agree with you that this is a sexually inactive build. It's like a very funny. Yeah, I use that terminology all the time to describe stuff in Armored Core, and you're absolutely right. This is a sexually inactive build. Lots of the stuff in top 100, top 10 is like sexually inactive. I think all of the like LRB in one hand, kinetic in the other, like shield and missile. I think all that kitey stuff is very sexually inactive. Yeah. Yep. You literally just like neutral up down S key kite and like plink at people as they get close to you. And if sometimes you push, like sometimes you AB and push, but your preferred mode of play is like up down neutral reverse kiting on Toku Slop. But because there's like a collection of builds that are all the same build. It's like big gun in one hand, tiny kinetic in the other, a soy missile on one shoulder, and a shield on the other shoulder. Like it's just that's just what that build space is. So I just collectively call all of it Toku Slop. But like, so Lamb's kind of a different story. The way most people play Lamb is very sexually inactive, but the way Goma plays Lamb is like pretty sexy. Like that build is yeah, he's the best Lamb player. No, like the best Lamb player. No one comes close. No one comes close to coming close. Most people play like that build is just busted as fuck. Like it's like Lamb has been the golden boy of this game since it came out. It's been I don't know how many seasons, but it's been on just the worst Lamb has ever been is tied for number 1. But it's the way that most people play it is super sexually inactive. The way that Goma plays it, he just knows how to move, and he has more in his move set than like continuously boost away from literally everything in the game until it can't touch you. Yeah, Nebula, Aurora, and Explosive Thrower, like all of that is like he knows how to use all of that in a way, and he maims them. So he knows how to manually aim Nebula and Explosive Thrower, which isn't hard because they have enormous AoEs. But like he is the only Lamb player that does it for some reason. I don't know. The game's player base is just like terrified to death of like doing anything for themselves. Like they deactivate hard lock and they like have panic attacks. But not Goma. He knows how to control space really, really well. The combination of Nebula and Explosive Thrower is very, very powerful for filling up a certain amount of space with damage. If you know where to like put the projectiles. Its booster is. I don't remember what booster he used because like. He used to use Mule, because Mule is like the non-booster. It's like it doesn't have any weight. It doesn't have any energy consumption. P10. All right. Then I'm pretty sure it's Jailbreak Arms. So you're gonna be doing Jailbreak arms, just because it's super light and you just don't care about accuracy. At least and it's like super low energy. Like you can like start with Basho. You might like end up being overburdened. This thing might be that min max. FCS is definitely gonna be SLT. Because who cares about accuracy? I have Nebula and Explosive Thrower. Nebula is a missile. Nebula is not a gun. I mean, you could. That's basically how you treat it. Like it controls movement, controls space. It has a 15-meter prox fuse. Yeah. Then it's Aurora on the shoulder. Okay, so it's not. Let me see your energy supply efficiency. It's 2.2k. Well, if Basho doesn't, Jailbreak doesn't use any less than Basho. So, can I just see if you look at him on ladder real quick and see if he's actually Jailbreak or if he's Basho? Yeah, that's Basho. All right. So yeah, it's like this build is I like part of me hates calling it skill expressive just because it's so outrageously overpowered. But like that doesn't really mean that it's not skill expressive. It's given the world, it can just do everything. Like he can AB, he can neutral, he can QB, he can chase, he can kite, he can CQC, he can play long range, you can missile spam. Like you can't really kick. You don't kick on this build. If you're kicking on this build, something's wrong with you. But it's just extremely oppressive. And Goma plays it very well, and everybody else that plays it sucks at it. What was that? Yep. You play evasive because like 20B is a meme. Like you have lots of energy to evade, and you also still do tons and tons and tons of damage. And you can force lots of movement with the Split and Aurora combination, and you can control tons of space with the AT and Nebula combination. And its chip on 20B Nebula is still a lot of damage, so it's very, very hard to take AP lead away from this build. But it is like, I don't know, I don't really want to say it's complicated to play. It just requires you to press buttons, which like most people who play this game are bad at. Yeah, I know, not pressing buttons. I don't, like, I play Armored Core 6, I do it specifically so I don't have to do inputs. I gotta get going, though. I gotta eat something, and it's, like, midnight here. Yeah, no problem. If you are curious about those quads, yeah, ping, like, Pillager and Sue if you have any other, like, general questions, obviously, like, I'll answer whenever I'm around. Oh, Kiri Kite. Yeah, that, yeah, midweights. Yeah, Toku Slop and Lamb are both midweight. Lamb is a midweight, has like the defenses, the stability of a midweight, the speed of a lightweight, and it has the stability of like a heavyweight. But yeah, it's got the mobility of a lightweight. It's just crazy. Kiri Kite is just sexually inactive. I don't know. I don't have anything good to say about that build. I hate it. I don't think there's ever been a build in any game that I've ever played that I hate as much as Kiri Kite. It's just awful. The way that it plays is so low effort. I'm not exaggerating when I say what you do is you hold S, you up down, you fire both of your missiles off cooldown because they are very spammy, very high rate of fire, instant lock. They've got a big AoE. They cause tons of aim punch. All of that is true of your arm weapons as well, except for the AoE thing, obviously. Like, great rate of fire, lots of aim punch, very spammy, great uptime. So you use all of that to basically make your enemy miss all of their shots from aim punch. Yeah, and you also, like, the way that you move is very exploitative of the fact that FCS doesn't function in this game. So it's like that's fine. It's like it's a build that works. The arms, what are the arms on this build? Probably knocked. Yeah, they're because knocked is like very accurate. I could be wrong, but I think it's knocked. And the head is 44D. I think it's 44D. I'm not entirely sure of that, but it might be. Yeah, I don't know. Generator is going to be VP20C, so that you can stay airborne forever because it gives you a lot of energy on it on Redline Refresh. Like 1,000 energy for this build is a lot. FCS will be Walt or 21A. 21A. This build is like the only like conceivable use case for this FCS. The only reason you would use this over Walt is if you were concerned about energy supply efficiency, though, because long range assist is a stat that is like a cosmetic stat. Like, so the range bands are close range is 0 to 130, mid range is 130 to 260, long range is 260 to 390, and then after 390, FCS stops working for unguided weapons for some reason. I don't think the head's actually. I think they switched head from 44D, but it doesn't really. I think they switched to maybe Alba, but I don't really know. And so the only reason that this build is this build is pure hard lock. You never operate this build in soft lock, and it's because soft lock. Yeah. Yep. It is fucking miserable. And like all of the good builds except for Blue Lamb are hard lock only. It's truly miserable. It's just like this game. They made this game for droolers. But yeah, what a shame. This is the gameplay loop of this build, and the only reason it's number one right now is because the community is almost entirely JP. And this build does not function on international ping because you cannot, like, it leans really hard on playing quick time events. Like, you hear beep, you press dodge roll. It leans. Yeah. Just really, really slowly. Because, like, people, like, it's like, oh, it's got fast neutral. It's like. My AB on my fucking 120k weight build peaks out at like 610. It's like this thing neutrals like at 380. Like that's not fast. Like it's evasive, but it's not fast. But yeah, that's Kirikai. I don't have anything good to say about this build. It's like Yeah. See you later, Sash. Yeah, hopefully it's helpful. See you. Yeah, that'll be Chloro. If you're looking for heavy melee, like Chloro is just your guy. He's not really like a melee player, but he just knows. Actually, okay, no. If you're looking for like an actual melee sensei, Cypher. Yeah, he was brought up in the fucking mod channel. Search B. Yeah, Quincy mentioned him. I also have my eye on Mr. Search B for being way too excited to talk about how much he's hated by leftists for whatever. He's just very Southeast Asian. Probably not. You probably would. No, that guy was. I don't know. That guy. I don't know. That guy came on really strong. I didn't like that guy either. Search B. He's like Search B is like he's unfiltered. I don't like think that he's actually a racist, but like outside, like ignoring anything outside of the game, he's very good at melee. That guy knows how to play melee. He is probably the most competent melee player that is like at all active ever in the server. So there you go. Yeah, see you later, dude. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, see you, dude.